showcased.
Welcome everybody to another live edition of the Showcase Pod. I am Don Vega, joined by the boss Chris Blackheart.
Logistically, I made it.
You made it on a Thursday.
Perfect space. I am here. It's not closed down. Wasn't prior
Postponed.
booking. It wasn't postponed. Logistically, I made it.
Okay, and since you made it, we announced we were going to have a guest on this week's episode. And like promised, here it is. Our guest this week is Mr. Leo Connors, joining us through the screen there. Leo, you there?
Yeah, what's happening, guys? How you guys doing?
What's going on? How you been?
All is good
I'm
down
good.
here.
Good, thanks. I've been working a lot.
Yes, that is perfectly understandable, right, Chris Blackheart? You came from working?
I did.
Okay. All right.
Logistically, I did.
All right. So, Leo, going back to little Leo, I always like to start the podcast off finding out, how do you get hooked into this wacky, crazy world of pro wrestling?
Well, it was 1972. I was 7 years old, and I'm just, changing the channels on my TV in my bedroom, and all of a sudden I see this guy in an Indian headdress just like bouncing towards the ring, I didn't actually know it was a ring. I just seen him it was like he was skipping. And I'm like, what the heck is this? And then as he keeps going, there's a ring, there's a guy already inside. So I'm like, very intrigued, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And the first match just happened to be Chief J Strongbow versus the Continental Nobleman, Joe Turco. And I was 7.
So you're a Boston guy, Leo?
Yeah, I grew up in Lowell, Massachusetts, hometown of Irish Mickey Wood.
Yes. Okay, Chris.
I was you said 1970, and you had a TV in your bedroom?
Yep.
You were
Me
the
and my
lucky
brother
one.
did. Yep, we shared a bedroom.
Back then, we're lucky if we had one TV in the household.
Well, I'll tell you what, it wasn't a big TV, that's for sure. It was probably like a 20-inch, 24-inch.
24? That was huge back then.
Did you have one of the ones with the 2 buttons, Leo?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
Did you?
I did.
Did you have to use pliers some days?
Oh, yeah. So that was, I guess eventually it happened. Yeah. And then you had the rabbit ears.
Yeah. So you watch.
And you're using tin foil on them and stuff. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. You had to kind of work for the shows you wanted to watch. It's not like now you just click on anything, anywhere, anytime, and there it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that right there got you hooked. Was that WWF at the time, or?
Yeah, Worldwide Wrestling Federation.
Okay.
And I got into the magazines right away. Like, all of a sudden, I saw wrestling. All of a sudden, there's magazines in the stores that I just started, asking my dad for money and stuff.
Okay.
And my dad ended up cleaning an office building, and he used to take me with him twice a week. And he'd pay me, and he'd take me to the store. And back then, there were over like a dozen magazines, you know what I mean, in the stores. Okay. And he would let me buy as many as I wanted.
Do you have a favorite one back then?
Big Book of Wrestling was really good. Also, The Wrestler. I liked them a lot.
Was the Wrestler, I know when I got into the magazines as a youngster, I used to like the ones with those full color bloody pages. Was that the Wrestler?
Yeah, the Wrestler, and then Inside Wrestling later on, too.
Yeah.
I remember I got Wrestling Scenes. It was like 6 magazines a year, and they had a lot of pictures of it.
Yeah, I was into the ones with the color.
But yeah, no, that's when wrestling was good. I did the same thing as Leo did. I would go down like every Saturday, even Kmart. Kmart was awesome back then.
Yeah.
You grabbed the magazines, and that was. Imagine if
that was the internet. That was the internet.
That was the internet, man. You thought you were smart when you read stuff from Texas and Memphis, and the guy showed up on TV, and you're like, I know that guy. Yet.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's when it was pure.
Yeah. So Leo, that match right there in particular you just mentioned got you hooked. Then after that, obviously you continued on. Who were some of your other favorites that you watched?
Whoever was teaming with like Tony Gurria, whether it was Dean Ho, I like the baby faces, obviously, when I was a little kid. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And guys like that, I like Larry Zbyszko, Bruno, Pedro.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I got the magazines, there were some guys you could tell were good guys.
Yeah.
And some you could tell. But then there were guys that because they don't wrestle in your area, you really don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy. Mm-hmm. Like a guy for me was Jerry Lawler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jerry was one of the mainstays during that era, during that time, well, like Hogan.
Well, you figured, he was basically a territory guy.
Yeah.
And you didn't know to like him a lot of guys back then, you could tell by their gear.
Mm-hmm.
But Jerry, he was different gear, a little flamboyant to say the least.
Yeah. So, Leo, you remember the first time you went to a live wrestling event?
It was probably at the Low Memorial Auditorium. I really don't remember much. I remember Ivan Putski was on the show.
Mm-hmm.
But the second show I went to was in my neighborhood, and it was held at a skating rink. Because I would imagine the Low Memorial Auditorium was probably under renovations or something.
Yep.
Because they ran 3 shows at the skating rink. And the skating rink, guys, literally was less than 5 minutes from my house.
That's sweet.
And in one of the shows, Bruiser Brody wrestled Jose Gonzalez.
Mm.
And Jose Gonzalez says Brody bullied him back in the WWF.
Yeah.
And I wonder, did he bully him right in front of me? They wrestled.
Yeah, maybe. That's interesting because, I've told people before that, even Carlos Colon wrestled in this area, and I think one of his first matches was up this way. And like you said, Jose the Invader Gonzalez, he worked in Boston area and Springfield area and all these neck of the woods, the old WWF territory back then.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, no,
in wrestling back then, for me at least, because I started buying the magazines, like Chris said, all of a sudden you'd be reading about a guy, and then at the end of the show, they'd be like, next week, we got Dusty Rhodes is coming. I can literally remember them saying guys like Dusty Rhodes, Mil Mascaras, and I was flipping out because I knew them in the magazines.
Yeah. Chris, you got a question?
No, I think I remember seeing like Invader number 1 and 2. And you didn't. It was funny if you only knew now what it was back then.
Yeah.
And how the guys came through the territories, and who would have thought that like WWF would be running at an ice rink or a high school? I don't think people can understand that.
Yeah.
What we do now is what they used to do
back in the day,
literally 40 years ago.
Yeah, a lot of the venues that a lot of the indie promotions got to run afterwards, like the Fall River Armory and different places like he mentioned over in the Boston area, were all run by Vince.
Yeah.
The Low Auditorium and all that. They had Raw there, if I'm not mistaken, a lot. In Lowell.
Low, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, at the auditorium for years. It goes all the way back to the 60s.
Yes. So,
Leo,
during that time, so now you're hooked with wrestling. Did you ever thought about getting into business in wrestling, or was that something that you aspired to be, or you were just a fan?
It's just a fan. It's funny because everybody that I know that knows I'm a fan is surprised that I didn't want to be one, but it never, ever, ever entered my mind to even try to be a pro wrestler. I'll admit, managing sounded good in my head once in a while, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I just never did it. I'm just a big, huge fan.
What? Did you hear that?
What?
Those were drops in the bucket. I heard of something on the bucket list.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, we might see Leo managing somebody one of these days.
Danny, I think you may need
you never know, I guess,
you may
right?
need a manager.
Yeah, you might pop in here and there somewhere.
We can make dreams come true.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
So, Leo, do you recall when was your first introduction inside the business, like meeting somebody in the business, kind of like, becoming friends with somebody that brought you like in the inner part of wrestling?
I met gorgeous Chris Duffy at the Lowell Memorial Auditorium, and after what I just said to you guys, I saw him. The only thing I could think of was I want to be a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And he brought me right to Killer Kowalski. And Killer said, I'm at the school, blah, 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 blah. And I said, thank you. And I walked away. That was my first introduction to like a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, you guys know, gorgeous Chris Duffy passed away much too early. But then when Ring of Honor came to Massachusetts for the first time,
Yep.
I went to that show. And I saw RF, the guy that owned it at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I asked him for a picture. Because while I was watching the show, I was with a friend of mine who wasn't a big wrestling fan, but came with me.
Yeah.
I told him, man, how can I be a part of this? And then I thought about it. I mean, I'm a chef by trade.
Mm-hmm.
And why don't I? So I took the picture. That Monday, I called the RF video offices. Said, my name's Leo. I was at the show Saturday. That guy, Rob, picked up the phone in half a second.
So
I offered food for merchandise because I know they don't have, indie companies really don't have cash.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I worked out a deal with him, and I did it till he lost the company.
So at the time, it was Rob Feinstein?
Yep.
Okay. So
and I probably did 7 shows, I think.
You remember some of the guys at the time that were working on the roster for ROH?
Oh, yeah, for sure. The Backseat Boys, Dan Moff, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, Low-Key, AJ Styles, what's his name? Chad Collier.
Yeah.
And there's what's his name? Who else? CM Punk. He wasn't there the first show. He was there the second time that I came. Colt Cabana. All of Special K. Do you remember those guys?
Yeah, Special K, yeah.
That's my favorite faction of all time in wrestling.
Yeah, those guys were doing some great stuff back then. A lot of the stuff you see now.
Yeah, and I like the concept of the gimmick.
Yeah.
Rave kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All they care about is dancing and getting high.
Yeah.
And that was that was Doug Gentry, the late Doug Gentry.
Yes.
That was his creation, Special K.
So, what was your interaction like with a lot of these guys? Obviously you were catering, you were feeding them. How were they to you? You had any favorites back then in the locker room?
Everybody was cool except Punk. He was kind of a dick, but is what it is. I still enjoyed watching him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He just wasn't like a very nice guy. But Paul London was super nice. Prince Nana was really cool.
Yeah.
Yep. Both of those guys offered to help me clean, and I'm like, guys, I'm all set. I was flipping out because I'm a huge wrestling fan, but I'm very professional. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I know I'm not going to be able to keep doing this if I'm not.
Yeah.
If I'm marking out and all that, they'll be like, we don't need this guy here, even if my food's good.
Yeah. Definitely have to have that respect for the locker room and the guys and yourself, Carry yourself like you've been there before. And that's actually a nugget for a lot of guys that might watch this, and you have to be a pro when you're in that scenario.
Oh, absolutely. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I ended up getting to do other shows for other people. Like I did 3 for Tommy Dreamer.
That was
I did his
House of Hardcore
show, his 5th show, and his 13th show. And that was a lot of fun. Tommy's a real cool guy because he tried to get me a catering job with TNA. But they were in a hotel, and the hotel wouldn't let any outside food in the building. And he told me, he said, listen, I like to repay favors. Because all I did, I catered for Tommy, no charge. I just want access to the wrestlers from my grandson. That's it.
Okay.
And he obviously went for it. Food for free?
Yeah, I mean, it's a win-win.
Absolutely.
What do you
And Tommy is a great guy, though, man. He really is.
Well, Danny was wondering what the first menu was. He was licking his chops.
Yeah, the first menu was chicken parm, meatballs, ziti, and a salad.
Danny's in.
Is that okay, Dan?
Yeah.
So, Danny, that was so much better than what Mr. Biggs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Joe, Eugenio with the Entenmann's cakes?
Oh, the cakes.
No.
Are you still on the cakes? Okay.
You like the cakes, but I remember
Mr. Biggs, oh, man.
up in Clinton when Biggs used to put I just remember the mayonnaise and potato salad,
Oh, man.
be 90 degrees out.
Oh.
Yeah,
Don't-
Blackheart will pass on the potato salad.
Everything. The only thing I got there was water. So
Yep.
no, that,
Leo, did you ever did catering for, or maybe talk to Sheldon about catering NECW at some point?
Actually, I never really did. Sheldon's a great guy. I had him on my show twice. Yeah, no, I never really have. I always went for places that I thought like with Tommy Dreamer. It was kind of like not really a Ring of Honor show, but it had guys from all different places because it really was just kind of like a Ring of Honor, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was House of Hardcore, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, that was a lot of fun. But the only time I catered around here was I catered for remember the Boston Marathon?
Yes.
Oh, wait.
That's why I got into that, because I wanna ask you about that whole
Tell us the story.
experience.
I catered for the boys, and I did the concessions at that show.
So, there's been many stories. You were there on hand, live and in color. There's been many stories about what transpired that weekend. Can you lighten us up on any details on what really went down, the whole Kevin Sullivan and all that?
Yeah. The guy that was running the show tried to run the show on the gate.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't pay Kevin Sullivan his full amount. And from what I hear, Kevin wanted to kill him. And luckily for the guy, I won't mention his name because he gets really mad at me when I tell the stories that I tell him. I'm just telling the truth, dude.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
Can't
you-
get mad at me.
Be
telling
happy
the
to
truth.
name drop. We like the truth, the whole truth. It is not our fault if the truth hurts.
Exactly.
I would not tell Spencer. I won't.
Yeah.
I promise I won't tell Spencer.
And Spencer knows I like him. If he watches this, he knows I saved him from getting burnt in Jersey one time, so we're even.
Nice.
If he gets mad.
So just let you know, he still owes me $200 for Godrail rental.
Who Spence?
He's not a bad guy, you know what I mean?
No, he's not.
And he owed me $500, and to his credit, I told him, I don't want it $50 at a time. I said, I don't really care how long it takes. Just pay me in full.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say before 3 weeks was up, he gave me the $500.
Oh, okay. So you got your money. Some people
I got
are
my
lucky
money, yep.
enough that they get their money. you know?
Yeah, no, I heard other stories,
Oh, yeah.
where he, he gave people credit cards and then he called fraud on it. But
Yeah, that was crazy. And so when I was leaving, right, that's because I actually had to go back to the building because they canceled the Sunday show.
Mm-hmm.
So Friday night, I stayed in Nashua, New Hampshire. We went and did the show. And then Saturday, we drove back down there, and we got a hotel Saturday night. And about 3 a.m., I woke up in the hotel, and I looked at the messages on my phone, and he had texted me telling me he's canceling it. So, it was just a crazy thing. So that when I went back there, I went to go throw some stuff in the garbage, and I found 2 boxes of the blue Pro Wrestling Marathon T-shirt.
Oh.
And I grabbed like 2 stacks of them. I should have taken them all.
Yeah.
Because I could sell them now because everybody wants them.
Yeah.
Oh, they're
of
collector's
course.
edition.
Yeah, they put over
Right.
the incident so much that now they're worth something.
Right, and I probably have 10 or so downstairs in my basement that eventually I'll run across them and, let people know if they want them.
Yep.
But, yeah, so it was crazy. That whole show was cool, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the
But
idea
it's
was cool,
insane.
It's just that not the first mistake is running an event and having all this mixed characters that are getting, compensated in different ways and not having the funds prior to running that event is crazy because you never go on your gate. You always have to have money to cover the show ahead of time.
Yep.
Right, exactly. Well, a good promoter does that.
Yeah, you can't run a show if you don't have funds. I mean,
One of the biggest problems that he had was the location where he put it.
Yeah.
There was no public transportation. There was no T's in Abington. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken,
It
that was what on Route 123, like the cross.
Yeah, something like that. But it was just insane. I mean, people came down from Maine to go to this thing.
Yeah, I'm surprised that having all the ties to like Matt Storm and Kyle and Rich Bass and Quincy Armory being around him. I was surprised.
I think it got moved though. I think wasn't it originally at Quincy and then it got moved?
It was supposed to be somewhere else. Yes, I'm not positive where it was supposed to be, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was Quincy.
No, I think that's what it is. I think he got jammed. I think he found a venue.
Yeah.
The venue. I remember walking in there. The ceilings were low. The chandeliers were like right, literally where the ring was.
Mm-hmm.
First match hit him, right?
I think it was. I think I saw it when I dropped him off. The guardrails off.
Yeah.
And then I got the stories. I'm just looking at it. I'm like, yeah, this is.
So this is a show you should have stood in.
I should have stayed there.
You did the drop and go and miss the action.
I did. Well, no, I think we had no, we didn't have a show that Friday. What did we have a show? We had a show maybe on Saturday. I think that's what
There
it
was Mav wrestled Anthony Green on that show.
Young Anthony.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I
Man, what a worker he's turned out to be, huh, guys?
Yeah, definitely, man. I remember Anthony when he was about 8, 9 years old going over to the Worcester shows for Powerhouse Wrestling. He was just a fan back then, and he's turned into, quite the worker, going to Japan, getting a big run down there. I just seen Anthony about probably 2 months ago. We had him down at Royal Crown. Yeah, definitely a great guy, great kid. Man now. But yeah, doing some good stuff.
Absolutely. And I'm pretty sure he's going back to Japan soon again.
Yeah, he told me he would be going down there. So yeah, that should be coming up shortly.
That's awesome, man. That's all he's ever wanted to be since he was a little kid. Remember? And he started as a ref because he didn't think he was ever going to be big enough.
Yeah, I used to always say, you look like Zach the Ref Jr.
Yeah.
You know Zach the Ref? You know Zach the Ref?
Oh, yeah.
I
love Zach.
Yeah, and Anthony was like chubby when he was younger. So I was like, yeah, you're like the chubby Zach the Ref. Now that Zach's a little bit chunky.
Well, no, he didn't look like anything.
Yeah.
And again, it's not where you start.
Yeah, it's where you end up.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So Leo, obviously you grew up a lifer, like we say, fan of pro wrestling. Got your hands into Ring of Honor, met some people. Now moving forward now to the current you got a talk show, and you've had a lot of guests, and you're doing a great job there, you know, for New England wrestling and wrestling in general. How does that come about? How do you get into having your own show and having different guys from wrestling?
All right. I was working as a custodian on third shift at one of the high schools. And there was an event that I was covering. And everybody that had tables had stuff all over the tables. Mm-hmm. Except there's two guys. They had one 6-foot table. And they had two business cards sitting on the table. I kept walking by them. And I finally said, guys, what's this all about? Everybody's got stuff. Why don't you guys? And one of the guys said, hey, we're from the TV station, the public access station, right down the street. We're looking for programs. And I said, I could have a program? And the guy's like, yeah. He's like, what would you want it on? And I immediately said wrestling. And that was over 9 years ago. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I remember it is because my brother passed away in August, and I started the show in September, and I dedicated the show to my brother. So that was like 9.5 years ago.
So, you know, that kind of, it was kind of meant to be, you know. I guess at that point when you're seeing the table, there's nothing there, you ask, and it just worked out. Did you envision what you're doing right now as far as all the people that you've interviewed so far, and you know you're having some success with the show? And
well, the first show they told me I was gonna have Skype, so I had a Skype guest, and then I got there and they said you don't have a Skype guest because it's not up yet. So I called Pat Dillon, who I had just met at the Pro Wrestling Marathon. And I said, hey, man, what are you doing? He's like, what's up? I said, hey, I'm about to do a show in an hour and I got no guests. And he said, I'm on my way. So I did the first one with Pat. I did the second one all by myself, and I didn't like that. I didn't like doing it alone. Mm-hmm. So I asked this kid, Derek Dukes, to do it with me. And he ended up just being I want to call him an outright liar, but a fib teller. He loves to tell people that he wrestled for ECW.
Yeah.
Dukes, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, Derek. I think he's in Florida now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Was he a
listen, that's a joke, too. He makes it seem like he's got so much money that he flies back and forth to New Hampshire, to Florida, and he's always in New Hampshire. He just bullshits people and tells them that he's in Florida.
Okay.
And I had a kid ask this question to him on the show. Where could I find your ECW matches? Mm-hmm. And you know what he said? Oh, they shut the cameras off when I get in there.
They shut the cameras off.
He must.
It was a lights out match.
He must have been wrestling rock paint.
Yeah. So
it's unbelievable the lies that he told.
Are we getting an exclusive? He was the first ever dark match.
Yeah. Non-televised.
He was the creator of the dark match.
And I tried to tell him, right, that honestly, RF filmed everything there. Everything.
Yeah.
And they don't cut the cameras off when someone's wrestling.
Yeah, you go back. Yeah, you go back. You can find anything. Ralph Feinstein used to has everything. I mean, still.
Yep.
Yeah. I guess he picked the wrong thing to say with the wrong organization and.
Listen, it gets worse with this guy. I went to Chaotic Wrestling's last show at the Woburn Elks. Mm-hmm. Okay? They set up a thing in the corner. It was drywall on some wood, and they wanted all the fans to sign it. So everybody signs it. In the main event, someone goes through it, breaks it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then the following weekend, Derek posts a picture of that, the broken thing from the Woburn Elks in a cigar group and said, I'm about to do something stupid. So then he comes back a few hours later with some blood on his head and the WCW United States title. Remember the red one?
Yes.
He had it over his shoulder. Now, I know that he owned that belt. And he literally slapped the belt 3 times and said, and now I'm the new United States champion. He cut himself and everything.
Oh, man. That's dedication of bullshit, people.
And Sonny called him out. Sonny Goodspeed called him out on Facebook. So he blocked me.
Oh, man, yeah. Chris Blackheart's looking him up right now. Yeah, he's a short guy. Derek.
Oh, yeah, Derek Duke.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah. Yeah, you know who he is.
You probably recognize him.
Mutual friends.
See a picture of him.
Yeah, if you see him, you know who he is. Short guy. So going back to you, Leo. You start your show 9 years ago. You dedicated the show to your brother, your passing brother. Sorry about your brother.
Thank you.
Now we're 2024. You interview a lot of people, a lot of New England guys. What are some of your most memorable interviews? Some of your favorite guys that you've gotten an interview and know more of by doing your show?
I had out of you guys, Big Woody, right? The late
Yes.
Big Woody.
Yes.
That guy was on so many times, like 7 times probably.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best guests, because not only could Woody talk wrestling, but he could talk boxing, baseball, hockey. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Everything. And he was a lot of fun. And at one time, he came on the show, even though he was mad at me because I said something about Todd Sopel, a good friend of his.
Yeah.
And he was mad at me, but he brought Luis Ortiz to do the show for me.
Okay.
And he didn't hold it against me because, he had promised me that he was going to bring Luis in. And I was trying to get a boxing episode in when he passed. I was trying to get a hold of Mickey Wood and Dickie Eklund, one or both. Try to get them to come on the show, talk boxing, and I was going to surprise Woody with it,
Yes.
And it just didn't happen. But when I started the show, this is exactly how the show is now, is what I envisioned right from the start. I wanted a guest every week, a sit-down interview. Mm-hmm. It took a while. It took a while to get a guest because of my co-host. A lot of people, and they told me this, wouldn't do the show because of him. Mm. So once he was gone, it's been so easy booking people. I mean, it's humbling when someone comes on the show and says, "Man, I'm so happy I'm here." It's just a little show, and I try to bring justice to New England independent wrestling. I like to say my show showcases the best of New England.
Yeah.
Oh, I like the pun.
You like that? So the show is The Ring and all the sports, and you're on YouTube. Like you said, you try to provide a show every week with a guest in studio. So if you haven't gone and check out Leo's show, The Ring and all the sports in YouTube, go do that. Go check them out. Go subscribe. You're gonna see a lot of New England wrestling. If you're a fan of, you talk about other sports obviously, but mainly wrestling, right?
It's kind of funny with the name. I very rarely do I talk about the other sports. It's kind of a running gag on the show where when I do talk about something, I usually say, all right, that's good for another couple months.
So you stuck with the wrestling.
Yeah, oh yeah. But I mean, when something big happens, like when the Celtics just won the championship, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't talk a lot about it. The Celtics won the championship. Congratulations, Boston Celtics. Move on. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Of course, you got.
I think the Bruins, though, would get a longer intro because I'm a huge hockey fan. I love the Bruins.
That's your thing. We got a guy that works for us, Frank Rocha. He loves the Bruins. I mean, the Bruins lose. That's it. There goes his whole week.
So
I'm not that bad, but I do love that. I think it's because it's the only sport as a kid I didn't play ice hockey. Because it was an expensive sport.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're constantly outgrowing your skates, your equipment, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad worked hard enough. I didn't have the balls to ask him to work more so I could play hockey.
Mm. What do you have, Chris?
Well, it's this time of year. Usually the Red Sox choke around this time.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't they just have... Now, I only know that... Now, yes, I'm a New England guy, but I'm not really a super sports guy. Because every time we used to run the Attleboro Moose Lodge, the Red Sox would be like in the wild card chase, and it would always kill the house back then.
Oh, okay. So you were sour about the house, so... And
I always wanted them to lose right before... So we wouldn't have to do the best 4 out of 7, and so yeah. So congratulations on Boston for choking again.
Oh yeah,
they didn't even make it to October.
All right, Chris. All right.
I think they got eliminated from the playoff contention yesterday.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That I did hear. So
you're happy?
Well, yeah. I mean, we are running Woonsocket on October 5th, and that would be the date they usually would screw us.
Okay, well, it is what it is. So, Leo, other than Big Woody, have you had any other guests that stand out to you, shows that been your favorite?
Yeah.
Wild guests?
When I made a list to start the show, the first name I wrote was Jeff Costa. Mm-hmm. And it took about 6.5 years to get him in there, and it was a surprise. Matt brought him without telling me.
Oh.
I also interviewed Tony Roy for 2 episodes, Sheldon for 2 episodes, all kinds of guys that I met when I first, 20 years ago. Guys like Jimmy Allen, Trooper, Rumble, Slick, Brian Fury. I met just all these guys, and I fell in love with the independent wrestling.
Yeah.
And I went to as many shows as I could. I also had let's see, who else did I have on that Mike Hollow was on. I actually went outside of New England a few times. Mm-hmm. One time I went to Chicago and interviewed a female boxer named Rita Figueroa. Mm-hmm. And then I had Deranged from Special K.
Yes.
And I also had Mr. Ooh La La of the ECWA.
Yes, that's a rare name, a guy that had a interesting character, interesting gimmick.
That was that guy, him and Deranged, I did it 100% for me. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because I'm big fans of both those guys. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to think, and then anybody that I already had a relationship with that I got to have on, like Sonny, like Matt, Sam Amato, guys that I started to get to know. Yes. And then I have them on the show. It's amazing. I got this coming Monday, I have Brandon Locke. And then after him, I have Pete Malloy, who used to wrestle for Chaotic and the MWF.
Yes.
So I'm just excited. I just want to keep going. I had Mike Crockett on the show, too.
Brandon's back. He's back wrestling. I caught up with him last year during WrestleMania. I caught up with him out in L.A. And, at that point in time, he didn't know if he was going to come back and wrestle, but I see that he's back. Is he back in Chaotic?
No. He's not wrestling, but I don't think he wrestles at all anymore.
No, I think he's doing stuff for Caleb.
I'm sorry. I was thinking you're talking Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon Locke. Yep.
Brandon's been wrestling for the WFA and another company. I don't know the name of it, but he just had a match with Spencer Slade. You know Spencer?
Yeah. Yep. Rambo as Rebel Spirit. The one that Spencer.
Yes, that's it, right there. Rebel Spirit. Yep.
Okay.
Now, where are they out of, Chris?
I think Spencer, he does a little bit in Weymouth and also up in Marlboro at a brewery. I think it's Taco House Brewery.
Right.
Did you know about that? Because if I'm not mistaken, WFA was running out of there. Did those two have a fallout? Something happened with
I really don't know. I do know that Brandon was working for him too. So I really don't know. I'm out of the loop on that. I really don't know what happened.
Because talent-wise, they've been using some of the similar talent, but I just thought it was odd that WFA isn't running there and Caleb's running underneath his own banner. I mean, that's what it looks like.
So that's Caleb?
I believe it is.
Okay. Because I know Caleb was doing the production for WFA.
Yeah.
Because a friend of mine, Sean Crecky, he did it with him. Like he works for Caleb when Caleb has a production job.
Yeah.
And who else did I have on that was amazing? Carmelo Hayes.
Yes, Christian Casanova back then.
Yep. I had him and Trips on. My producer opened the studio on a Sunday for me because they were booked all the time.
Did you attended a lot of the shows back in the day in like the Boston area, like indie shows, or no? Did you attended like NECW shows and stuff like that, or?
Yeah, I went to NECW shows. I went to MWF shows.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? And the guy that used to run in Everett at the rec center, Ken, the policeman. Do you know that guy? He also runs in Gloucester. Ken or Kevin Kelly, I think maybe, which sounds silly, but I'm pretty sure that's his name because there's other people in wrestling with the same name.
Yeah, I mean, well, Kevin Kelly, the announcer, Kevin Kelly, Kevin Landry. I mean, there's been a few. Been a few. That one I don't really know about him, the Everett guy.
Yeah, it doesn't ring a bell offhand.
Bless you.
You got to ask maybe Sammy on that one. Sammy will know.
Yeah, that's. But Leo, we're gonna get right away, real quick, while we have you on here, into our plugs. Coming up October 5th, we're back at the Woonsocket Training Center and Arena, 126 Main Street in Woonsocket. Saturday night's main event, 7:07 p.m. bell time on that show. Coming up October the 5th, there you see it on the screen. Tag team matchup as Danny Cabral and myself will be taking on the Inconsistent Bums. I gave him a tag team name, you see.
I give you a little credit for that.
AZ and his lackey, Matthew Michelson.
Yes, thank you for properly saying this.
Yeah, whatever. Open challenge, SPW heavyweight champion Rambo Godfrey will be on hand. The YouTube championship will be on the line as Brother Moon Reverend will defend the title. All that and more this October 5th in Woonsocket, 126 Main Street. Saturday night's main event, 7:07 p.m. bell time. We move it along to the following week on the 11th. We're back at the Taunton BFW Hall, 82 Engle Street in Taunton, Massachusetts. That's a Friday night, 7:47 p.m. bell time. For that one, Danny's nervous. He bypassed that one. And we go right into October 12th, the next day, as Powerhouse Wrestling returns back to Sturbridge, Massachusetts at the Sturbridge Hotel for Halloween Bash. Big matchup already signed as Mr. Kennedy, Ken Anderson, will take on Chris Masters, the Masterpiece. Also on the card, the Cowboy James Storm will be in the house, and he will take on the winner of the big battle royal happening to crown the new Powerhouse Wrestling Heavyweight Champion. Evie Della Rosa will take on former WWE star James Ellsworth. All that and more October 12th in Sturbridge, Massachusetts. Tickets on sale, eventbrite.com. And right now we got some words, if you take us to those right now, from the Masterpiece, Chris Masters.
Massachusetts, get ready. Saturday, October the 12th, Powerhouse Pro Wrestling presents one of the biggest wrestling events in the history of the Massachusetts area in Halloween Bash. You're going to have James Storm, James Elmsworth, and you're going to have an epic matchup, a battle of the ruthless aggression era, as Ken Anderson takes on me, yours truly, the Stu Hart Heritage Heavyweight Champion, the Masterpiece, Chris Masters, and I look forward to taking on Ken in what's going to be an epic matchup of monumental proportions. So get ready, everybody. We'll see you October the 12th for Halloween Bash.
There you have it. Chris Masters will be on the house taking on Ken Anderson, Halloween Bash on October the 12th. Following date, Showcase Pro Wrestling returns to Autumn Fest in Woonsocket as we bring 2 live shows on October 13th, which is a Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. We'll be live at Autumn Fest. And the very next day, October 14th, Monday, right after the parade, 1 p.m. again, more live action. That is October 13 and 14, Autumn Fest in Woonsocket. You don't want to miss that. Since we're in the plugs, Leo, well, we got one more. I almost forgot. RCW returns to Medford, Massachusetts on October the 18th. That's a 7 p.m. bell time for What a Nightmare. Big main event matchup already signed as Big Wrecking Ball will take on AJ Francis and all the stars of RCW Wrestling, Royal Crown Wrestling on all social media. Don't miss What a Nightmare, October the 18th in Medford, Massachusetts. Next week I'll have some of the matches that are on that card announced here in the Showcase Pod. Moving on, Leo, if you want to tell the fans where they can find you at, all your social media, and talk to us where they can see the show and subscribe, because, you know, we want subscribers on YouTube.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can catch my show at YouTube. You can get there by going to my name, Leo Connors, or The Ring and All Other Sports. I post it on Facebook. Obviously, it's on YouTube. I'm on Instagram as Boss Brew, BOSTBRU, and X. I'm on that under the same Boss Brew. I do the shows Monday nights at 5 o'clock. All right, guys, I appreciate you guys having me on.
Bro, it's been a pleasure. Hopefully we get to do it again. We'll talk some more wrestling, some wrestling stories. And, you know, thank you for being on the show. We appreciate your time.
No, thank you, guys. Take care.
Take care, Leo.
Thank you.
Bye.
Well, there you have it, Leo Corners. You make sure you go check out The Ring and all other sports on YouTube. Subscribe and go take a look at the collection of videos he's got. Interviews from a lot of the guys in the New England region. Some familiar faces you might see on television right now. And speaking of television, if you want to be a professional wrestler and maybe one day get featured on television, come to the Showcase Pro Wrestling Training Center on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. And for that info, you could email.
Seeing and quick email at promoter@showcaseprowrestling.com or all social media, SP Wrestling. Just come on down.
Yep. We got
we have a lot of
young men and women that are
coming down, inquiring. Probably the biggest thing people get is they're nervous.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to, right? It's like the first day of school.
That's a big step, you know.
But it's wrestling school.
Yes.
You know?
It's a big step.
And you got trending in the chat room, hashtag inconsistent bums.
Yeah, you like that, huh? You like that tag team name, the Inconsistent
who's
Bums.
Who's that? Is that slander?
Daniel Alves and Sherry, I think Love.
She loves.
Yeah.
Two.
All right, is that a bad name? I don't think AZ. Well, we are going to schedule AZ and Matthew in a couple weeks. We're going to have them down here. I thought that would be nice, right?
A couple weeks after the match.
You know, we don't do it this week. We'll do it.
They might not be able to.
All right.
They
But
might not be able to
talked
speak
them.
that much after the match.
The problem with coming up, they can't be this week. He has hair treatment going on.
Yep.
It's like literally a 48-hour process between drying and oiling and drying.
He shouldn't
and
be
oiling.
concerned about his hair coming up. He should be concerned about other things, because the clock is ticking, Chris Blackheart.
Oh, but
The 5th is just right around the corner. I'd be more concerned about what's about to happen to him in the ring and not your hairstylist.
speaking of what's happening, where in the world is Joe Davis? I checked his social media. I can't find him.
Well, Joel
He's still in
Davis.
New York?
Joel Davis, no, he's not in New York.
Well, I know he's not in New
just
York.
seen Joe a couple of days ago. We were down at in Taunton taping a TV show. So he is in the house. He is around.
He is back in the hometown.
He is back. Yep, and we'll find out next week to see where, why, and when will Joe be doing some comedy again.
The problem with Joel, you don't know what he's going to do.
Well,
And that's
good.
the good thing and the bad thing about Joel.
That's good. So
He's like having like a bat and a raccoon stuck in the room.
well,
You don't know where they're going to go. You don't know where they're going to jump, where they're going to fly, what they're going to do.
Well, speaking of not knowing, also on October the 5th is the WWE Hell in the Cell,
Oh, boy.
Bad Blood.
All right.
And we did our picks
We did?
before.
We
We're
did?
gonna do the last time, when
Oh,
I
no,
beat
last
you.
time. This, all right. Give me the picks.
It's round 3.
All right.
We're gonna go through the
So,
matches.
Just remember, everybody, I won, was it 7-4 or something? It was like a huge, I mean,
Gotta win.
you kind of felt like the Red Sox.
You gotta win at one point. So, the big main event matchup I'm figuring is going to be the big CM Punk Hell in a
Alright.
Cell
that's
against
a
Drew McIntyre on that one. And my pick on that big Hell in a Cell match is going to be Drew McIntyre over CM Punk.
It's hard because this is going to be the last one, you think?
Come on, let it out. Spit it out.
See, this is a hard one because if this is the last one, I think Punk will win. But I'm not sure it's the
No,
last
don't
one.
think. Like we said,
All right, I'm going with Punk.
You just never know. He's got Punk.
Yeah.
I'm writing the stuff down.
Yep, I got McIntyre.
Yeah,
just
thank you
so
for the
it's
encouragement, Leo.
Just so that is on video.
Finn Balor and
Finn Balor taking on Damian Priest. What do you got on that one?
I got Balor.
I got Balor also.
Yeah, because I got a feeling Dom's going to be interfering on that
Yeah,
one.
Balor's got
Yeah.
over on that one. Who do we got next?
Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan.
Liv Morgan defending the title against Rhea
that's a
Ripley.
tough one.
And I think Dominic is going to be suspended above the ring in a cage.
Yeah, I don't know
So
if
there's
that's
no
tough.
involvement
Yeah, he's
there.
going to be involved. I still think Liv. I got Liv on that
I
one.
got Liv on that one, retaining the women's championship.
Yeah, that's.
Why are you copying my picks?
Do we have to write them down? Next time we should write them down and go like this. How's that?
No, he's writing them now.
no,
He's got
no.
it.
Just so you don't think I'm copying
He's
you.
got it. Okay. Big tag team matchup. As Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns will take on Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. I'll let you go first.
All right. Unfortunately, I think it would be Cody and Roman will win on that one.
No, I disagree. I think Solo and Jacob are going to pull the upset. I mean, they have to. If this story is going to continue, they can't fall short. I think Jacob's going to pull the upset.
Well, I'm happy for Jacob. This is a big match for him. He's starting getting a good position in the company.
Yes, I think Solo and Jacob are going to be victorious over Reigns
All
and
right, that's
Cody
fair.
somehow, some way. I'm moving on out. No, that's another women's match you just passed. Who's that on the
Was it
bottom?
Nia?
Oh, it was Rhea Ripley and
No, we did that one.
Yeah, we already did that one.
I think Nia's were.
Having technical difficulties here with Daniel.
yeah,
Is that the whole card or?
they're only showing 4 matches right now on the website.
If anybody that's watching knows the rest of the matches here, Danny didn't do his homework this week.
Come on, Boston, Dan. What's the other ones?
Busted.
What? I know they are going shorter matches, as in a shorter card. But
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to be 4.
I think
there's
we
another
got
2
some matches
matches
missing here, and this is live, so bear with us here. It is live on YouTube, so I'm going through the phone here and finding out if we're missing anything. I don't want Blackheart to win again on a.
Yeah, they're only showing 4 matches right now.
So next week, if we do find out that there's more matches, we'll have some more picks.
And no problem with that.
We'll got some more picks. He wrote down our picks for this week. So there they are. We both had the
record, yeah.
we both pretty much had the same, other than the tag match, right?
I think we
Yeah,
had,
Pumpkin Drew. Yeah,
I thought we had 2
Yeah,
and 2.
yeah, 2 and 2.
2 and 2, okay.
All right, there we go. So Blackheart doesn't cheat again, and he doesn't get one of these mysterious.
It's
wins.
funny. I win and I'm
That-
cheating.
that
You
never
win
happened.
and it's talent.
Well, it's rare. It's a rarity that you win. So So, LA Knight question mark. LA Knight question mark. What? Who's he facing? Are you been hanging out with Danny, not doing your homework? I guess so.
Get back on the bus.
I guess so. The back of the bus. Let's see. Let's wait to see if he comes back with an answer there. While we're waiting, don't forget to join us in Woonsocket on October the 5th for Saturday night's main event. Tickets on sale, showcaseprowrestling.com. The 11 back in Taunton at the BFW Hall. The 12, Medford Powerhouse Wrestling. For that big event, eventbrite.com for tickets. At the Sturbridge Host Hotel in Mass. The following day, Autumn Fest, first day, October the 13th, 1 p.m. Next day on Monday, the 14th of October, 1 p.m. right after the parade, will be live at Autumn Fest. And, let's see if he got back to us there. He's making a t-shirt. Inconsistent bums.
Nah.
All right.
All right, so we'll just go this one. That's fine. That's a good start. We'll get the other ones going up.
We'll get the other ones going. You got anything else for this week, Blackheart? Anything you missing? Any good or bad news? Any indifferent news? Any gossip? Any hooks you wanna
Nope.
leave around? You've been
Logistically, I'm fine.
Logistically. I wonder where you're getting that from.
Logistically, I'm fine.
You like playing games, huh?
Not really.
Video games?
Well, some days it doesn't all fit. So,
No.
when the area is open, maybe I'll play some video
I
games.
heard Spratt and Damien are still roaming the streets of Woonsocket.
No, they're fine.
Oh, he had a pop when we talked about Special K and how they used to be rave kids and
Well,
get high. And
I
get
totally
stoned.
forgot about that, to be honest.
And,
with you, 'cause that's
yeah.
going back like the early 2000s.
Yes. Could they be the new?
Special K?
Yeah, I mean, they like to drink their herbal tea. They like to have their medicine. What else is missing?
A lot.
So, with that being said, don't forget to come back right back here and join us for the Showcase Pod next week for Mr. Danny Badandi, the boss Chris Blackheart, and Don Vega. We'll see you right back here next week in the Showcase Pod.